It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
You're listening to Achtung Millwall.
Good morning, dear listeners. Welcome to Monday with Merv, talking to the man himself, Merv Payne. How you doing, Merv?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, I'm a bit, as you can tell, I'm struggling with my voice a bit. That's part not my fault. I just had a bit of a cold last week, but then obviously went to the Birmingham game and shouted and sung myself hoarse throughout the match and totally knackered my voice and ended up sounding like Sean Dyche for the rest of the week. It's just about coming back now. But yeah, well, I mean, it's been a long time since we've had that much to shout about anyway.
Absolutely. It's been a hell of a week. Starting last Saturday with the kind of the depths of despair against Pompey at home. Then that magnificent one where I saw you afterwards, get the win over Birmingham midweek.
Yeah.
And Saturday's also magnificent performance up there at Deepdale, Merv. Yeah. We were just saying off air, it's actually a nice away day, Preston. I always find it it's a nice straightforward. I mean, probably the hardest part of it, listeners, if you've never been, is the walk from the station down to the ground. It's a hilly town, isn't it?
I only ever went by train once. That was about 30 years ago. When we first went back down to the third tier. And I got the train then and took my lad, and it was a bit of a hike. And since then, we've always driven and parked up. And there's plenty of places to park up. Plenty of places to drink. It's a really decent away game.
Some really nice pubs there, Merv. And obviously Saturday night, I mean, I was walking back to the ground, grabbed a bite to eat in a Turtle Bay, listeners. Turtle Bay, grabbed a burger and chips before the train ride home. And the pubs do some big business up north, Merv, don't they? I mean, Saturday night's a big event up there. And, the ladies go out dollied up to the eyeballs. It's quite a sight, actually.
It's quite old school, isn't it, really? Yeah,
it is. Yeah. It is. But enough of that, old school on the pitch as well at Deepdale.
You've got to admire the way we bounced back from a defeat, haven't you, really? Or a knock, because we were both a little bit... In fact, I mean, the whole atmosphere outside the ground before the game on Wednesday, everyone was seemed to have a similar opinion.
Yeah, it was nervy, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I met regular voice messenger Rob Woodford there.
Yeah.
And he got it. He called it right. He said it's not a must win, but it's a must not lose. And that's sort of summed it up perfectly. I think had we lost to Birmingham, I think it would have started having you questioning just what our playoff credentials or promotion credentials were, but the way in which we didn't just bounce back when we absolutely smashed them, really, didn't we? It should have been 5 or 6. But then to go to Preston, who themselves obviously would fancy a outside stab at the playoffs and win relatively comfortably was just brilliant.
Yeah, no, quite a performance. The pitch was old school. That felt a bit like Cold Blow Lane 1988, to use probably a possible metaphor, listeners. It was a bit bumpy right down the middle, Merv, and patchy in the corners where the sun don't shine, I think. But yeah, I mean, that win over Birmingham conjure up another phrase from the past. It got a piano off our back. Incidentally, a big shout out to Harry, who we were talking to in the Surrey Docks Tavern, who claimed his grandfather used that phrase. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but it's a nice line, Harry. So
it was a good legend to listen to, because
it was.
I think according to Teddy Sheringham, because obviously Teddy Sheringham was at the Birmingham game, getting his inducted into the
Forever Lions Club
Hall of Fame, Forever Lions. If you read his book, he seems to think, and I concur with this, because I don't know why, but I heard it from quite a few people, that it was the Bournemouth home game in the promotion season, and Bournemouth were like struggling, and they came down there took the lead. I think Trevor Aylock was playing for him, and he was
Oh
obviously on
my
a mission
word!
to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
revenge.
yeah,
They
yeah.
took the lead. They took the lead, and we somehow managed to scramble our way back into it, get an equaliser right near the end, and then poor old Nicky Coleman, I think, made a ricket, and they got a winner, and the atmosphere was obviously understandably toxic. And
Toxic.
according to Sherrick, I think it was as he walked off at half time of that game, was when someone shouted out from the cold blow, "Boy, Sherrick, we get that piano off your back." And
Yeah,
it's become a legend ever since. And I say, whether the legend is true, I don't know. But yeah,
I don't know.
it was funny chatting to Harry.
It wasn't our Harry, listeners. It
Mm.
was another Harry. Good to meet you, mate, if you're listening in. And yeah, get the piano off you back. We've certainly played with no piano on our back Saturday, Merv. I mean, that was an
No,
unchanged lineup at Preston. And I thought the only thing that bothered me was at the end of the first half, we had a series of really good chances. We were 1 goal up
yeah,
thanks to Ryan
yeah.
Leonard.
Mm.
Really well taken goal, actually.
It
It
was
was a
brilliant take. Oh,
kind
opportunist,
of a
wasn't it? Yeah,
chip, kind of a
yeah,
chip in from the edge of the box almost, wasn't it?
yeah,
Very
yeah.
strange
Brilliant.
strike. It
Yeah,
went in the net. And we missed a few.
yeah,
Coburn had a very odd. I mean, having seen it back, it was he kind of bundled it in off the shoulder of the Preston defender onto the crossbar. I mean, you couldn't
yeah.
do it twice, could you?
No,
And at other moments, I think we're still at that Millwall stage, Merv, worrying about missed chances, aren't we? That come back to
yeah.
haunt us.
That was my thoughts at half time, because obviously I followed it on Sky, and they said that we were dominated towards the end, and you always worry about that, because especially the closer it gets to the end, when you're only 1-0 up, and you think, oh, it's going to be the
Well,
old same.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, come the half time, I think Jake Cooper had a volley, side
mm,
foot volley, cleared off the
yeah,
line, and there was Camille Negley went close with a kind of a half cross, half shot. And I think it was neither in the end. But anyway, there we are. 1-0 at half time. And the second half, just we were never in danger, Merv, but I think you
no,
kind of live with there must be a psychological condition named for it, Millwall syndrome or something, where you just fear that 1 goal lead is not enough and they're going to come back to us in the
yeah.
second
Well,
half.
I mean, I always remember that 87-88 promotion season, that little run we had at the end, which got us up. It was a whole string of 2-1s, wasn't it? From what I can remember, there was
Yeah,
a lot of 2-1s.
it was edge of the
Um,
seat stuff, wasn't it? And I don't think any of
yeah,
us really believed till late. I can
no,
remember the moment I believed. That's when we beat Stoke 2-0 at the
yes,
Den.
that was the one that
That
sealed
was
it
the
up.
moment where it dawned on me that this was real now, and it wasn't
Yeah,
just an outsider Millwall shot that goes
yeah.
goes away from you.
I remember
But
in
anyway,
that run, we went 2 up at Leeds, and they pulled one back, and we were clinging on, and we did the same at Bournemouth, and they pulled one back, and then obviously Horn saved a penalty in the last minute at that one. But yeah, there was a lot of. It wasn't good for the nerves back then, and I
well,
doubt
certainly
it will be
wasn't.
now either.
No, I mean certainly the playoffs look likeliest after Luke Cundall's late winner, which was after a half of I wouldn't say pressure, but it was certainly possession for Preston, and we had moments, but it was a lot less decisive in the second half for us. But
Yeah,
that
yeah,
that late breakaway with the man himself, Femi Aziz cross,
yeah,
in what
yeah.
a player he is, Merv.
He is. Yeah, just a brilliant
You
run,
know,
wasn't it? Yeah,
finished very well by Cundall at the far post, and that
yeah.
gave us the 3 points and lifted another piano. We had a Steinway on our back at that moment, lifted off our shoulders.
I like Cundall. I like the way he's the sort of player who'll come on, and he's sort of a player that probably annoys the opposition, because he'll just nick a goal like that. He's a bit of a talisman, isn't he? He
Yeah,
got a little chance. He got the only goal at Sheffield United, and scored on his debut. And yeah, I mean, I saw what was really interesting was some of Alex Neil's comments.
yeah,
One of them about how he doesn't believe in going to places like that and trying to get a draw,
nick a
or
draw. No,
he
it's not in
goes
his
there to win.
lexicon, is it?
And that,
No, that's
yeah,
right.
so good to hear. And he got asked about his time at Preston. I thought was very interesting, and basically said, how different is it now? And he just said he's got a stronger squad.
Yeah, I
So
picked up on that. There
yeah,
was
so I think
the
he
Preston
clearly,
TV put
yeah,
that clip
yeah,
out. Um,
clearly appreciates the resources he's been given, because in a game like Saturday, when you're 1-0 up, and you perhaps you're fairly comfortable, but there's always a chance, because you're the away team, that you're going to concede.
yeah,
When you've got the sort of options on the bench we've got now, it's not, I wouldn't say easy, but he must
it
feel a
gives
lot
you
more confident in seeing the game out, when you've got quality like that to bring on. Yeah,
it gives you strength in depth. In fact, that was the phrase that he used, and I
yeah,
found that quite an interesting choice of words because it's
yeah.
not been something that
No, it's
we
been a
would
long
have.
time since we've ever ever had that, if ever.
I'm just looking at the bench and the players that didn't get on the pitch, and I'm looking
Yeah,
at Tommy Watson, Merv,
yeah,
Derek and Danny Deard, Ivanovic came, Barry Bannon and Tierno
yeah,
Bello. So Bello, Bannon, and Tommy Watson, what you might call
yeah,
three flair players in their
yeah,
different
yeah,
directions, didn't get on the pitch on Saturday. So
yeah,
I guess that's what he's meaning: strength in depth. And we used 5 subs overall
yeah,
late in the game to bring fresh legs on at crucial moments.
yeah,
He seems to be really enjoying himself at the
yeah,
finish
yeah,
of the game. There was obviously the team came to salute the 1,600 fans that had travelled up, and there was a look of joy on his face. I mean, I know he's gone
yeah.
to
I
his
think
old
he's really
club.
enjoying himself. Yeah,
I think
definitely.
he's loving it down at Den, don't
Yeah,
you,
I do. I
Alex
really
Neil?
do. I think he's they're a really good match. We've been very fortunate. It's not often you get that with a manager, especially in the current sort of climate. You look at like West Brom are going through managers like anything now.
Yeah,
And we had our little blip with Joe Edwards, didn't we? And we've had like the sort of safe pair of hands, if you like, in Gary Rowett and the
yeah.
sort of the real legend in Neil Harris, who both could grind out results and keep us in the division or even get us knocking on the door of the playoffs. But without any disrespect to any of the other managers, I think Alex Neil has proved to be a true upgrade, really. Coupled with the recruitment policy, which is so much better now as well. It's just been brilliant. It's working out really, really well.
Absolutely. I was thinking about this on the train coming home on Saturday, listeners. In fact, on another subject, I got talking to a couple of Brentford fans who'd had a bit of a VAR-inspired win at Burnley. But anyway, I'll leave that to later. But I was thinking about Alex Neil, Merv. I mean, as a manager, comparing him with some of the greats of the past, he seems to have more tactical arrows in his quiver, doesn't he? There's an ability to adapt, and I mean, certainly goes
Yeah,
for the win.
yeah,
That
yeah,
much is for sure, and that's music to any Millwall fans' ears. Go for the
yeah,
win, don't settle for the draw. That was
yeah,
Rowett's probable downfall, and maybe even Harris's to some extent.
yeah,
But he's certainly built a team that can adapt. And making use of players, unlikely figures like Macaulay Langstaff. I mean, how many times have
yeah,
you read that get rid
yeah.
online?
I
Transfer
know.
window, shift him on,
Yeah,
no use
yeah,
at our level. He did really well Saturday in
he's,
difficult
he's
conditions.
yeah, he's having a really good second half of the season. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, we mentioned this with Alex Neil before. He's quite traditional in that sort of coaching or managerial sense, in that he will change things around and try other stuff. Whereas a lot of managers now, like Gary Rowett and like Neil Harris, they'll have a set system, and they'll play to it, and that's it, because
yeah,
they feel that will get you a higher percentage of points. Whereas Alex Neil, and we found it, there's a downside to it, because Alex Neil is not afraid to have a go and not
no.
afraid to get it wrong. And we've had a few sort of freakish results, like the Plymouth game last year.
Well, he called them
But
bloody noses in his interview the
he'll hold
other
his
day.
hand up and say, "Look, I tried something else; it didn't work." But
Yeah,
that the upside of that is when it does work, as we saw against Birmingham.
yeah,
I mean, that was just, we were sort of joking a bit, weren't we, about the whole "they wanted it more than us" line. But
yeah.
you certainly can accuse them of that on Wednesday. And I think what it is, it's the championship is so competitive. It's just almost impossible to be at your very best in every single game. And there are just times when it just doesn't work out for you.
Yeah, I mean,
And
it's a cliche, but it's a true one. That anyone can beat anyone in that
yeah,
league. I
it
think
is. Yeah, this is it.
I
I
think
mean,
it's great credit, but that's the truth. I mean, you're going to lose
yeah,
one or two, aren't you, once
yeah,
in a while?
yeah. I mean, the
Um,
frustrating thing is, after Pompey beating us off the back of beating Charlton, they've then gone and lost at Wrexham and lost at home to Hull, which is, yeah,
yeah,
sort of, but that's the nature of the championship. That's exactly it, and that's why the likes of West Brom and Leicester are struggling, because it is just so competitive, and you've got to take a few chances. And I think if you try and play it safe, then you won't get very far. But what I like about Alex Neil is he's prepared to try different stuff, and the club have backed him with all the signings and that. And I think he really appreciates it.
I think we've got a magnificent squad. Right, you can
Mm.
always say you can improve here, there. We
Oh
should
yeah,
have
you
done
always
this.
can. Yeah,
We should have done that, Merv. But I'm just looking at that starting 11 there. I mean, Anthony Patterson in goal made a crucial couple of blocks and in
another
moments
clean
on
sheet. Yeah,
another
yeah,
clean sheet. That was one of the stats I picked out. I think it was one of the bookmaking sites picked up that we'd had 13, now 14 after
yeah,
Saturday
yeah.
clean sheets. I think that's at the top of the clean sheet
It is.
league,
Yeah,
if there's such a thing. I want to mention Zach Sturge, who's come in and
I
really
think
gives
it's
us energy and running, Merv, the
yeah.
pace of the boy and the
Oh,
commitment.
it's first half against Birmingham, and I've said it, and it's no exaggeration. That's the best fullback performance I've seen from a Mill defender for a year. I can't remember the last time I saw such a brilliant all action performance from a fullback. You know, he absolutely tormented the life out of Birmingham. And he looks like someone who thinks, right, I've got my chance to get my place
Yeah,
back, and I'm going to really
yeah,
going to do. And again, that's the benefit of having such a strong squad, because no one's going to be coasting that. No one thinks their place is safe.
no, no,
Um,
no,
and
no.
Zach Sturge is thinking, right, I want that place back. I want to be in this team and in this running. And he was absolutely brilliant. You know, he was unlucky not to get player of the match of the Birmingham game, but Cranmer played the full game, scored, made a couple, and he was just outstanding again. He
Would he be a
probably had,
contender on Saturday?
yeah, yeah,
Something I just wanted to mention in the context of both Zach Sturge and who we've just mentioned is Macaulay Langstaff.
mm,
The club took a bit of criticism online. That is the modern way, Murph. People pick over statements. I mean, Casper, speaking in his second language, listeners.
mm,
I don't know how you are in Flemish out there, dear listeners.
yeah,
I'm not very good, but anyway, he used the phrase, unfortunately, that the last week against Pompey they wanted it more than we do. Well, leave aside that now because Zach Sturge went into a tackle on Saturday, full force, and he was down. I feared that he might have injured himself. He got up and
mm,
run it off,
yeah,
as indeed did Macaulay Langstaff. It was a crunching tackle that both
yeah,
Macaulay and Zach put in.
yeah,
They certainly wanted it more than Preston on Saturday. So
yeah.
I think that little kerfuffle can be put to rest because the team showed how much they wanted it Saturday with full force commitment and
Yeah, well,
got a
there's
reward.
another interesting comment from Alex Neil. It was just as after the Birmingham game, and what I like about him is he is really blunt at times, you know, and he'll
Yes,
say
he
stuff.
is in his
And
Scottish way. Yeah,
yeah, and he said that he felt perhaps the Portsmouth game, what went wrong was perhaps he said both, and he made a point of he sort of stressed this internally and externally that maybe we were looking a bit too far ahead.
yeah, yeah,
That was
yeah.
a really interesting comment, and perhaps that's and it's brutally honest, which is
He's
probably a
told
bit
me
more.
off. He's told me off, man. Talking
Yeah,
about top two. Yeah, that's right.
yeah, there you go. Yeah, and it's probably a more flowery way of saying that Portsmouth wanted it more than us, because Portsmouth had come there with serious threat of relegation and knew that to
Yeah.
fight. And perhaps we'd maybe got ahead in the clouds a little bit and thought, oh, you know, we can just sort of like coast into the playoffs or
Put the
nick
shirt on. Yeah, that's
nick
enough.
another ugly win. And yeah. So the way they learn from these defeats, right? There's been times before we've gone on a good little run
Yeah.
and it's come to an end. We've got beat, and then we have a really bad run off the back of it, and it's really disappointing. But this season, we've bounced back from these little setbacks. I mean, the Coventry setback, you know, that was they could have sort of felt sorry for themselves after losing late at Coventry when they did so well in the game, but they just bounced back, you know, with wins and I think it's 7 out of 10 now. I kept hearing on Saturday evening,
Yeah,
7 wins
yeah,
in the last 10, which is brilliant form.
yeah. Another player I just want to mention Aziz, and he does his own talking on the pitch. I want to mention Josh Coburn up front, Mervy's
Yeah, yeah.
come in. I mean, physically, the boy is putting everything out there on the pitch.
Mm.
There were moments where he was almost being rugby league tackled
Yeah.
out there, which the referees seem to tolerate. I think I made a little sarcastic remark in my comments that he got a free kick at one point, which was like a real bonus because the amount referees let go on him and
Yeah,
Jay Cooper is quite
yeah.
incredible.
His
Um,
hold-up play, especially against Birmingham, was just brilliant. Really, really good. And I made the comparison a few times, and people might raise an eyebrow because he doesn't score like he did, but that part of his play, the hold-up play, reminds me of Cascarino,
yeah,
where
yeah, very
where
strong on the ball,
yeah,
very
where
strong boy. Yeah,
he's deceptively skillful, but you get the ball to him early, and he'll keep hold of it and allow other players to come into the attack. And when you've got someone with the pace of Aziz, that's so important. It must be a dream for Aziz to sort of play in with that sort of player, because he
yeah,
can get forward and we can get into quick sort of positions, attacking positions, and you know and get goals.
yeah. Paid off handsomely
Mm,
Saturday. It was a
yeah.
magnificent performance. A 2-0 win at the proverbial tough place to go, leaving us now just 1 point behind Middle Plate tonight, Merv. That's going to be
Yeah,
I wouldn't normally follow that game, but I
yeah,
will tonight.
Birmingham away won't be easy for Middlesbrough.
No.
Then Ipswich have got one of their 2 games in hand over us, which is away to Hull.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, you got I think it was that Benjamin Bloom posted all the in the next couple of months, the matches that involve the top 6 sort of playing each other, and it's quite, it's fascinating to look at. But it's going to be a very interesting couple of months because
Yeah, 11 games
a lot of
left
them are
for
playing
us.
each other. A lot of them are going
Yeah,
to cancel each other out. Wrexham are in the FA Cup still, which is going to be a distraction.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
A lot of
and
football
they're going to be
clubs
left with
holding.
games in it. Yeah, so it's going to be very interesting. I think it's going to go right down to the last day, possibly.
9-point gap between us and
Yeah.
Southampton in 7th position. That's probably the most realistic thing to be
Yeah.
focused on, listeners.
Mm.
Merv, before I let you go, as I said on the train coming out, it was actually a couple of nice blokes. So they'd been to Brentford versus Burnley. It was a 4-3 win
Yeah.
in the end for to and fro. But VAR afflicted, I think, is the word I'm going to choose, because I just read online that they're going to bring in more VAR on corners and various. Yeah, it is mad. But they'd had goals given. Burnley had thought they'd equalised, had it taken away because of some microscopic amount of shoulder or something offside. I suppose if we do get promoted, Merv, it's going to be a culture shock for us, because that's what we've got to look forward to too, haven't we?
It's going to be a nightmare, and I just think they've just gone way too far with it. I mean, the Hawkeye stuff for the goal line,
Yeah,
that was needed. It was
that's
brought in.
great. I've got no problem with that at all. Yeah,
What annoys me is that most of these, especially the Premier League games, you've got a fourth official who's watching the game in real time on a screen, just like we do at home when we're watching the match
yes,
live on telly. He can see something. They're all mic'd up.
yeah,
So let's say, for example, there's something as a foul that the ref hasn't seen or the assistants haven't seen. This guy's looking at it on a screen. He'll see it. He can just buzz the referee and say, "Oh, it was a foul there," and that's it.
yeah.
There's no waiting around. There's none of this celebrating a goal, then having it chalked off. And I think Ian Fleming actually put Burnley 4-3 up, didn't he?
He
On
did.
Saturday.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then
yeah.
it was chalked off.
That was taken away.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
no.
it
So
is. I mean, that's going to be one of the things that I mean, obviously, no one's going to complain if we ever get to the Premier League, but that will certainly be one of the. You can imagine. You can imagine. I've always said this: like the doomsday scenario is we play West Ham on the last day of the season. We need a point to stay up, and we equalise in the 9th minute of injury time, and they chalk it off because someone's 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 boot. I noticed one of the decisions last week. Actually, their toe of their boot was offside. Apparently,
yeah, I know. They're going to change it. Arsene Wenger's made a change or recommendation. They're going to bring it in somewhere. I think the Canadian League, but possible wider, is where you're onside if any part of your body is level with the last defender. So you shift it so you could be almost like a step in front, and your back heel is now level. I mean, it makes it a nightmare whatever way round you do it. And they keep fiddling with the rules, and I don't know that we've gained a single thing, but that's what we've got to look forward to.
A nightmare, but it'd be a nice nightmare to experience, I guess. If we
be an entertaining nightmare, won't it?
Yeah, I'm sure most of our fans would take it, but that's a long, long way off yet, I think.
I think you're right. Merv, I'm going to let you go, mate. Always good to talk to you, mate. Good to see you again. And stay tuned, dear listeners. We've got the voicemails after these messages.
Achtung, Millwall.
Alex, I know you may say you've done nothing yet, but you're obviously really close when you were here to getting in that top 6 a couple of years. Is there one main difference where you are now to what you had here? You look really well placed.
Yeah, I just probably think it's a difficult question, George, and you know that. Because I love my time here, so it's really difficult, and I don't know what the answer to that is.
You said they're quite similar clubs, really, didn't you?
Absolutely, and they're similar clubs. What I will say is, I feel as if right now, I've got probably a bit more strength and depth right now. And what it means is, their subs, and the reason I'm saying that is the last 3 games, their subs have come on and scored in every game. So when you can add people for the bench and they can have an impact in the game, it's so important, because after 70 minutes a day, some of our lads were sort of dead on their feet, but the lads that come on, they can still do the job for us, and yeah.
Has that reinvestment into the squad been, not to harp on about past times, but has that been massive? The quality you've been able to bring in? Yeah,
but what I will say is we sold a lot of players as well, So we sold Tanganga, we sold Romagnesi, we sold Ian Fleming prior to me coming here, and yeah, Jimmy's a brilliant owner. What he does is, obviously we're selling the players because that's what we are, that's our model, but equally when it comes in, he invests in the team, he invests in the training ground, it makes us better, And that's why we were. Listen, if you want to be in and around the top end of the league, you need to win these games. You know, they're crucial matches. I don't think I ever really play them down. What I do say, but is the fact that you're not going to be promoted or sort of fall into top six on one game. I think that I've been consistent in that. But equally, you need to, if you want to be up there, you need to win. You know, and today we got the job done, which is great. The lads will have a couple of days rest, which they deserve, and then obviously we'll get ready for the next one.
Those were two clips taken separately, dear listeners, of Alex Neil speaking after Saturday's fine win at Deepdale at Preston. The first clip was actually one of the Preston journalists asking about the difference between Millwall and Preston as two different clubs, and you heard him refer to the strength in depth that he's got available to him right now at Millwall, and also, you know, paying tribute to Jimmy Berylson for funding that development. It's a rare situation in Millwall terms, isn't it? The second clip obviously was from the Millwall feed, lifted from X, the public clips they put out, and that was the bit of admonishment that I talked about with Merv earlier on. Now, that incidentally, the interview with Merv was recorded yesterday. I couldn't get my act together last night to get a show out, so since the recording yesterday, you will probably be aware that Middlesbrough went to Birmingham and beat them quite decisively 3-1. So the gap is now a 4-point gap back to where we were prior to Saturday's win. The heat is on, as the song says, but we are chasing. Ipswich, I believe, are also in the mix with 2 games in hand on us. So just going back to Alex Neil's comment there about not getting ahead of ourselves, certainly playoff football will now seem like a huge disappointment if we finish outside the top 6. Let's. I think we can probably all agree on that. We probably only need a couple more wins to make that a certainty for the end of the campaign, and that's a huge achievement. You know, Championship playoff football with a shot at the big time as the prize is no mean achievement. We're not there yet, as Alex has pointed out, but it's certainly a target that we should expect to achieve from where we are right now, in my opinion, and a failure to achieve it will feel very disappointing indeed. As for the top 2, well, the odds are stacked against us, aren't they? We can only keep winning, as the cliche has it, and keep the pressure on the top places. I think Ipswich are probably too far out to be caught by us, but certainly Middlesbrough, we need them to slip up at some stage, and then we also need Ipswich to stumble, but we do have to go to both places. So, you know, it's game on, in my opinion. So anyway, listeners, now, as I said earlier on, we do have quite a few voicemails. Big thank you to everyone for continuing to send in voice notes, especially on these away games where, you know, not as many people get to them or react to them. So I really appreciate every single voice note that's been sent in. So we're going to lead off with David Liederkramer, followed by Hassan.
Hi Nick, David Liederkramer here. After a really good 2-0 win against Preston North End, I was only able to see the extended highlights, but from all the match reports and from what I saw, we were really in command for practically the whole game and thoroughly deserved the win. I think what's important for me is that it's not just the usual Millwall smash and grab, which we've become accustomed to over the past few seasons when we've gone away and picked up a result. It really is good football, direct football, but nonetheless football with skill and some artistry. We do, of course, rely quite a lot on Femi Aziz, although he wasn't involved in the first goal. But what a player he has become for us, and how right it was for the board to turn down that very substantial offer from Ipswich on transfer deadline day. Without him, I think we do lack a bit of creativity, but nonetheless are still a good enough side all round with other players of real quality, such as Negley and Kramer. I think the only point I want to make this morning is that I was very impressed by Alex Neil after the Pompey game and also after the Birmingham game in his post-match. He keeps his feet on the ground. He doesn't get too excited about wins or defeats. And sometimes as supporters, we can go from the depths of despair to pure elation very, very quickly. I know that after the Pompey game last week, I was feeling pretty rough, but then, of course, the feeling is completely different after we thumped Birmingham 3-0. Someone asked me in the week whether or not, if we didn't get to the playoffs, it would be a disappointing season. Of course, the answer to that is Yes, because we are obviously in such a great position with currently 9 points ahead. Before the season, I think top 6 was our real aim, but can we go higher? I think it'll be difficult because of our run-in and the fact that we've got so many tough away games to deal with. But look, nothing's impossible. Momentum's a big thing in football, and it's clear the team have got good spirit. One last point, I don't think I've been aware of a unified situation at Millwall, such as we have now for many, many years. We've got a really good owner, good manager. We've got a very good sort of backroom staff with Gallen and Fairbrother. Even the fitness coaches at North East appears to have got rid of some of our injury issues that were plaguing us at the beginning of the season. And of course, we have an excellent manager who's been there, he's done it, he gets what this club is all about, and he plays exciting football. And then finally, we've just got some really talented players who play hard, play for the shirt, and everything is looking very, very positive. On to Derby, difficult game. They're obviously in good form as well, but we have nothing to fear. Come on, you Lions.
Hello, Nick. It's Hassan here. Well, the Millwall Express train keeps on moving forward. Another good result on the road, keeping momentum going. And at this stage of the season now, it's just a case of just matching your rivals' results and just keep putting in 100% performances. I didn't get to go to the game, seen the highlights, and to be fair, all the highlights are just Millwall chances. It looks as though we could have won by many more goals. Good to see Lenny get a goal, nice finish as well. Good little bit of quick thinking from Denor for that finish. Coburn was unlucky not to get a goal, same as Negley. They're just looking more and more dangerous now in front of goal. I think for both of them, more and more goals will come soon. I'm sure of that. Luke Cundle, the forgotten man. I'm not his biggest fan, I've got to be honest here. I've been quite critical of him since he's come to the club. I just find he's just don't know what he brings to the side. But all he has brought is a couple of goals in the last few games. And considering the fact that he can't get a start these days, and there's so much choice in the middle of the park, he's like a forgotten man. But to his credit, I watched that goal back. Again, wonderful work from Aziz as usual, right towards the end. And Cundle, a bit of football intelligence there. He peels away from his man. Aziz, smart as ever, puts the ball in a dangerous area, and there's Cundle there to poke it in. Lovely finish. That'd be good for his confidence. And a lot of people may look at it and think, "Oh, the strikers aren't scoring." Doesn't matter. It's a team game. Everyone is chipping in with goals. That's all we can ask for at this moment in time. I think the attention turns to Tuesday night. Ipswich are playing Hull, which the final result of that can have an impact on where we are going into Saturday's game against Hull. And I've just got my ticket today, funny enough. It's about Sunday lunchtime. I thought, sod it, I'm going to go. I looked, there's only about 100 tickets left by the looks of it, looking at the map online. So I think there'll be a big crowd on Saturday. But, we got up there with some confidence, with a lot of confidence. We're playing well. And so are Hull. They're picking up results. So it's going to be a proper top 6 clash. And let's hope for another 3 points up at Hull. I keep it there, mate. Not much else to add to that. Let's just keep on moving forward, keep our head up, and on to the next one. Cheers, mate.
Excellent stuff from David and from Hassan there. Thank you, boys. It was an excellent performance on Saturday, and David said it wasn't the usual or the traditional Millwall smash and grab where we kind of defend with our lives and then go long late and nick a goal. It was a bit more controlled than that, dear listeners. What I will say is we missed a few chances, and it seems a bit churlish to pick at the kind of that aspect of it, because beautiful goal from another forgotten man for Hassan. He's mentioned Luke Cundle, scorer late to actually make it game, set and match. But the other forgotten man was Ryan Leonard, who started. I did hear that was Ryan Leonard's first league goal since pre-COVID days. He scored obviously in the Caribou Cup and the like, but not in the league. But then he hasn't had many starts, listeners, has he? But he did start Saturday and did magnificently, really. And the goal was a beautiful. It was almost like a golf chip shot from the edge of the green. You kind of just placed it into the net. So beautiful stuff I mean, there were a few missed chances, and like I said, I don't want to pick at them, even though I am picking at them by saying this repeatedly. Maybe one chance will go in. I think it'd be great to see Coburn get on the end of something. Confidence-wise, he's a magnificent performer. Physically, a magnificent performer. The work the boy gets through. I know they call him the lamppost, but he's a bit more than a lamppost out there, listeners. He's had 2 or 3 men hanging on him at times, rugby style, trying to hold him down, and he's holding his own. That's no mean feat, and he creates flick-ons and space for others to run into. We've mentioned the creatives. Aziz will probably be repeatedly mentioned across this show. Make no apology for that. He is a brilliant player. It was a great late run that produced the winning punch, crossing from the right side, found Luke Condell, taps it home easily. So it's direct and does have the artistry that David mentioned there. We do indeed. The Millwall Express, Hassan, I'm going to have to get that sound effect back going again of the Millwall Express, the steam engine grinding forwards. Last night's football wasn't particularly helpful for us in that Middlesbrough won easily, as I've mentioned already. As I'm recording this edition today, it's a day late. It should be Tuesday with Merv, really, shouldn't it? But anyway, we'll keep it with a Monday of a Merv tag. But certainly Ipswich play Hull. And we're looking really for a draw, really, aren't we? It is tight in the top 6. Everyone wants to get in the certainty of the top 2. And Coventry do look to have enough of a gap to make it just one place going to be available. That doesn't suit us. I can't make it to Hull on Saturday, dear listeners. I'm going to give a big shout out to everyone that manages to travel up there to that early kick-off, 12:30 start, very unfriendly start at the MKM Stadium. I will be watching it on Sky TV and my heart will be with you all. We're going to take a short break for some adverts and then we'll come back with the remainder of the voice notes. Stay tuned, dear listeners.
Achtung, Millwall.
Nick, Aussie Dave, after that comfortable professional performance against Preston, 1-0 up. Strangely, we probably all thought a little bit on edge, as we have done in past games, but at the same time, and paradoxically, quite confident that we'd win the game. Didn't know how to cope with that, but we got through. I've got a few short points. Point number 1, silver lining in clouds. After we lost to Portsmouth, which was a bit of a cloud, the silver lining was we totally refocused. And on the Brum and the Preston game, we were winning second balls. So I think, something's good come out of that, a very disappointing defeat. Second point, when's the last time we played exactly the same team in 2 consecutive games? No changes, particularly the 2 games were just about 3 days apart. And that seemed to show itself in a fairly cohesive team. And part of that same team was the back 5, which has changed significantly. New goalkeeper, new full-backs, Taylor out and Kramer in the middle. We virtually changed the back line, and we thought defence was a good point, but it's even better now, and 2 clean sheets. So I wonder if Alex Neil has stumbled upon who's going to be our first choice back 4. Very interesting. Next point. The number 10. We've played around with a number 10. We've had Negley, Bannon, Smallbone, RBW. But I actually think we found the solution now with Langstaff. He does better pressing than all those other players. And he's always in the box. Whenever you see the ball come over and our striker's there, whoever it is, Ivanovic or Coburn, Langstaff's around as well. So effectively, in those scenarios, have 2 forwards. And he's almost becoming a first choice for our number 10. Next point, injuries. Besides Taylor, we've basically got a full squad. I know Smallbone's coming on. And because we've had no more injuries since they've all come back, that's been significant. Now, I'm probably tempting fate, but let's just hope we don't get any significant ones for the last 11 games. Next point, flexibility. Against Brum, we played football and pressing. Against Preston, with the crappy pitch and the way they were doing long balls, we went long ball, bit like the old days. And it shows we can play to whatever we need, which I think is very necessary. 6 point, just going to pick on some of the players. Like the Brum game, I reckon you could give all the players a high score. I'm only going to pick up a few here. The fullbacks, Lenny and Sturge, I think they've cemented their positions. You could argue either was man of the match against Preston. Billy and Casper, back to their best. What does that do to Banham? Aziz, he had his usual magic, and was he man of the match? Another assist. Negley's an interesting one. When he first came, you thought if he gets a chance in the in the penalty area, he's going to score. But he was a bit lazy. He's flipped it totally. He's Mr. Energy now all over the place, but he misses easy chances. He missed, I would say, 2 or at least 1 against Preston. And finally, Coburn, he's clearly our first choice now and had a great game as well. And he could have been man of the match. That's the end of the analysis, just something totally different. I don't know how many of the listeners know Big Paul, who's on the Millwall forum. He's a Millwall supporter who lives in France. And I used to keep regular contact and did a couple of Zooms with him because while he was in France, he would give me some technical help for watching games if you live overseas. To hear his son post yesterday and say, Paul's died, a day after gardening, and he was recently over to watch the Charlton game. Absolute sadness. And I was really overwhelmed by the response in the Millwall forum to everyone that sad co-donors. So, Paul, yesterday's win was for you. Anyway, Hull's coming up. I reckon we'll win that. Come on, you Lions!
Morning, Nick. Jim Hack here. Just a very quick message after yesterday's fabulous win at Preston. I thought it was a comfortable win. Not a lot of damage came from Preston towards us, and we looked in charge all the way through. I don't think there was a lot that you could moan about from yesterday. I thought everybody put a good shift in. Our back four looked as solid as they did on Wednesday. And midfield looked fantastic again. And Coburn and Langstaff, if you like, had fantastic games. So, the way Coburn's playing at the moment is exactly what we're crying out for. I hope he gets a goal or two soon because that might play on his mind a bit. But I think the way he's playing, he's bringing other people into the game and we're getting their goals. And if we'd have won 4 or 5 yesterday, I don't think anybody would have moaned about it. I don't see how Preston could sort of have any complaints about the result yesterday. I don't know if they have or not, but they can't have. Our whole team and the subs that came on, everybody, so you can say they're all pulling in the same direction. But now, was it 9 points clear of 7th place? And I'm pretty certain we're nailed off to the playoffs at least. And who knows where else that might get us. But let's get the playoffs and take it from there. I think overall, it's been an excellent week. You can take Portsmouth out of the equation because these last 2 games have shown how solid we really are. And as much as you can look at our team, you know how we're going to play. Actually, getting past that is the difficult thing because we've got square pegs in square holes and we're doing fantastically well. I think all the support is just sort of holding their breath at the moment, just seeing where we go for these last 11 games. Oh well. On a personal note, obviously, me and Finn the dog, we're just about to go out for a walk now, listen to another Millwall podcast somewhere on the line, whether it's you or Chat with Chaps or whoever it is. But me and the dog, we're very happy as we're strutting our stuff down the street at the moment and waiting on everybody who wants to talk to me about football, Millwall. All right, so on to next week. Come on, you Lions.
Who do you want to watch, Finn? Millwall. Big shout out to Jim's dog, Finn, on his walkies in the wonderful Welsh countryside. Lovely part of the world where you're at there, Jim. I just want to say a big thank you to Aussie Dave and to Jim, actually, for those 2 messages. And I want to just go back a moment and put the football to one side, listeners, to mention Big Paul, who Dave mentioned in his little piece. And I did a short end tribute, which I didn't expect to strike a chord, but it has. And a lot of nice messages on the Mill Online. For the life of me, I can't log on to that forum. I don't know how you do it. But I just want to say thank you to everyone for promoting that little tribute, which is basically a readout of Paul's son's posting on the forum. Now, Big Paul was a character, a proper Millwall character. He's very suddenly passed away. He was living in France, but he would get back and forth, as the boys have just said there, to come and watch the Millwall. And I actually had a very nice email from one of his mates who lives in France with him. I'm going to read it out, listeners. So Paul's name was Paul Truin, and this is from his mate Ross. He's emailed me to say thank you for the tribute. I've just listened to a fitting tribute to my mate Paul Truin. Can I just thank the fans and Millwall management? Paul was a lovely guy, seemingly fit and healthy. He moved his young family to France over 20 years ago to give his family a better quality of life. Paul had been a firefighter in South London for many years, always went to games, and as many as he could whilst living in France. He was Millwall through and through, says Ross. He regularly teased me because of my support for Spurs, and if Spurs go down this season and Millwall go up, believe me, the irony will not be lost. Paul was only 70, fit and healthy, a regular swimmer and walker, taken from us unexpectedly and suddenly from a catastrophic heart attack. I would be very pleased if everyone could clap for Paul at your next home game in the 70th minute. I doubt there's a better Millwall fan out there. If there is, I've never met him. Kind regards, Ross. Now, I've replied back. I've never organised in my life an applause on a set minute, listeners. But I've decided to try and do so in respect of Paul, who I never met. And this is an odd thing with the internet. You can get to know people via the net, as Dave just said in his little piece. You know, in his case, via Zoom. You're talking across the world, Australia to France. Internet forums just give you an image and a picture of a character, and Paul was a solid Millwall fan and a character who's clearly his loss is going to be felt by his friends and family deeply. Certainly, I will miss reading his pieces online. So the request has come in from Ross to organise a clap for Paul on the 70th minute. I've never done such a thing in my life, but I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to stick it on the X with if the family are okay with it. If anyone is listening from Paul's family or anyone that knows a contact for them, please do get in touch in case they don't want us to do this, because I don't want to tread on toes. Trying to reach out via people that are on Mill Online. Big shout out to Robbo and thank you for your help on this, mate. But anyway, keep your eyes plucked, as they used to say on the Police 5, peeled. They used to say peeled. Get your eyes peeled for reminders to clap for Paul, Big Paul, in the 70th minute. As somebody that could as easily be gone like Paul, I do know the suddenness and the sense of where did that come from, because I had a similar incident a few years ago, which I was very fortunate to survive. So we're going to try and give this a go, listeners. Never done anything like it myself. I don't want it to be a damp squib if I can do anything to help it. So I'm going to need you to post and repost the appeal for applause in the 70th minute for Big Paul, wherever you post on social media, on the forums, whatever. Let's see how we get on. So there we are. Big thank you to Aussie Dave and to Jim Hackett. Now I'm going to play the remainder of the voicemails one after the other from here onwards, listeners. We're going to start off with Mike George, followed by Rob Woodford, Rob Abbott, and then we'll finish with Martin Colwell. So I'm going to say a big thank you to everyone for their contributions to this show. I'm going to say a big thank you to you too, dear listeners, for tuning in so regularly. And we'll be back after the whole game, and fingers crossed for 3 points there. Take it away, Mike George.
This was a home game, wasn't it? It certainly sounded like it, as the Preston crowd were totally silenced by the travelling Lions. 1,600 plus of them, and well done to everyone. As for the game, Millwall's quality shone throughout as they dominated and controlled the game. I was disappointed by the home side, frankly, whose only tactics seemed to be to lump the ball forward and hope something happened. For 99% of their efforts, nothing did. A fantastic frontman performance again from Josh Coburn. A wonderful goal from Ryan Leonard, curling into the bottom corner. And right at the death, Femi burst into the box to send in a low cross for Luke Cundle to tap home. This was a difficult game, mainly due to the pitch, which had more pockmarks than your average teenager, and the home side who, well, they just kept getting in the way, more by accident than design. Great performance from Zach Sturge and Jake Cooper ensured we had another 3 points to the tally. We're now 1 point behind Middlesbrough and 9 away from the dreaded 7th place. We might start to dream, But hold on, let's wind our necks in. We have tough games coming up at Hull and Ipswich, and I think they will put up a stiffer test than Preston. Onwards and upwards. Come on, you Lions.
It's a great time to be a Millwall fan, Nick. You know, what a performance again away from home yesterday. What a monumental result in the context of our season. Such great team spirit, and that includes the whole squad. And not for the first time, the gaffer's substitutions had an impact on the outcome of this match. Josh Coburn, for me, was a man mountain, leading the line so well, holding up the ball, allowing us to get up the pitch. And let's hope he can stay injury-free for the last 11 games. Or will that be 14? And then Camel Negley's versatility is so vital to this team, I think. Zach Sturge and Macaulay Langstaff once again gave us so much energy and tenacity. And another clean sheet. 11 games left and we are 9 points clear of 7th place. My thinking, 4 wins needed to confirm a playoff place. With 5 home games left, it's all looking very promising. And we are well on course for beating our 66 points last season in the next 2 or 3 games. And when you think about it, the big picture, you know, our owner recognised that our old model wouldn't get us into the top 6. Now we sell players for decent money. Thank you, Zian. Thank you, Romain. Thank you, Jaffet. And then we reinvest it in quality that improves our squad. We are improving as a club year on year. Add that to a terrific manager who is a perfect fit for us, you know, and things can only get better. Come on, you all.
Hey Nick, how we doing? Rob Abbott here. It's quite late. It's Monday morning on the way to work, but just thought I would send you a brief message to say what a fantastic victory that was at Preston. We were very, very dominant, weren't we? It's only 1-0 at half time. On another day, it would have been 3 or 4. But yeah, superb display all round. Second half, very, very professional display, especially on that pitch. That was a shocking pitch, wasn't it? And all the subs come on and made an impact. Our bench is looking strong. We didn't even use Watson or Bannon, but Alex Neil made the right subs. They all contributed. Just a special mention for a few players. Everyone was brilliant, but a special mention, Zach Surge was phenomenal. Throughout the whole game, he went more central as well in the last 20 minutes when Preston made that quadruple sub when we brought Doughty on. Played more of a left-sided centre-back of a 3, but he was exceptional. Josh Coburn, what a performance for a striker. Absolutely dominated. Their backline brought others into play, won numerous throw-ins, corners high up on the pitch. And then my other mention must go to Femi Aziz, because he is a special player when he is on it, and he had their fullback in knots the whole game. But look, it's been a very good week for us. 1 point off Middlesbrough. Let's hope Birmingham can do us a favour tonight, and then tomorrow night Ipswich versus Hull. Yeah, ideally we'll take a draw, won't we? But look, it's in our hands. 11 games to go, 33 points. Let's see what we can do. Massive high though after that weekend. Hopefully you had a enjoyable day up in Preston.
Hello there, Nick. It's Martin Colwell. Hope you're well. Just calling in about the great win against Preston yesterday. Wasn't at the game, watched it on the stream. Thought we played really well overall. I thought we were in control for most of the game and really should have been a few goals up at half time, which made it a bit shaky in my mind. But yeah, dominated the game against a Preston team that seemed a bit end of season to me. You know, they were trying to push, but it wasn't really there. I don't think they're good enough to challenge for the playoffs anyway. So, I think they've probably realised that now. But they tried, but we were much the better team, I thought, and had chances to bury the game really by half time, I thought. But we didn't, which makes it always a bit shaky. Glad they kept the same team as in the week. As I say, I thought we were playing well. But they had chances, but all teams will have chances, won't they, against us? We can't do much about that, and that's why we need to take those other chances when they come. But yeah, second half, I think it started the same really. Thought we were in control, and we should have, scored more and really put the game to bed quite early. But it kind of changed, didn't it, when they started to bring on subs? I thought they got more life into them and looked a bit more dangerous, and we had to work harder. And I think the goalkeeper had to make a couple of saves, didn't he? But yeah, again, but we still had chances, but couldn't take them. And they kept making subs, didn't they, before we were making subs? And I still think we left it a bit late with the subs, but who am I to say really if we're winning? Yeah, and kind of the second goal killed it, didn't it? Really, that was the end of game. That was the end of game. We could all go home then, but it was a bit late, wasn't it? We should have really, finished them off with 20, 25 minutes to go, really. But there you go, another great away win. Thought the defence played really well. They gave up a couple of chances, but other than that, they played well. Thought Jake Coburn had a really good game at centre forward. Looked proper centre forward and looked fit to go, didn't he, today? And he was causing a bit of havoc in their defence that we couldn't quite, make enough of really to, finish them off. And it's a good win because we had to win because, the other teams up there were winning as well. I watched watched a bit of the whole game, and the Portsmouth were the better team, but they got lucky. But I didn't think much of Hull. I thought Hull, were a battling team, and they held firm against Portsmouth, and then got a fortuitous winner. So I think we can go up there and get a result against them. But yeah, really important to keep winning as everyone else was winning. But we're getting close to that second place now, aren't we? Regardless of other teams having games in hand, because if you've got games in hand, you have to win them, don't you? Or they count for nothing, really, don't they? But yeah, I saw that Alex Neil said afterwards that the players are going to have a couple of days rest, which makes sense. So I think they'll probably be back in training on Tuesday. And, that gives them a slow build up to the trip to Hull, which is never good. Anyone who's been up there, which I knows, it's a long way. And, it's a long way back, isn't it? So it's quite a hard place to go. And it's near the river, isn't it? It's near the Humber. So, the wind can blow there as well, despite it being on all four sides. So that'll be a tough game. But, we can look forward to these games because we're playing well. And if we can avoid injuries this week, we can go there with a strong team and push on, into challenge for that top two position. But with a 9-point gap between us and the 7th place team, Southampton, excuse me, who are finishing the season strongly, we've got that buffer now. So 11 games to go. Let's win at least 5 of them. They win 5, draw 2. And okay, I'm saying 4 defeats, which sounds negative, but that's still a good point, so and definitely gets us in the playoff, doesn't it? But probably need to win 2 more to get that second place. But yeah, credit to all the players. Would like to see them put games to bed a bit earlier, and would like to see subs come on a little bit earlier to freshen things up, because I thought we were starting to run out of steam a bit when they brought on their second lot of subs. So we need to watch for that. But anyway, let's go forward. Let's go there, and let's go to the Premier League. Come on, you Lions.
Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Achtung Millwall. All profits from our show benefit the fabulous Lions Food Hub, helping families in the Essex 16 area. Until the next show then, it's Arrivederci Millwall. Bye for now.
Who do you want to watch?